Hello everyone. I'm so excited about this group. This is an excellent opportunity for us to connect with each other and for me to share everything that I learned at my retreat 2 weeks ago in Itasca, which is just outside of Chicago with Deepak Chopra. It was an absolutely amazing retreat, and basically the content that was part of the retreat was based on the book The 7 Spiritual Laws of Success by Deepak Chopra. And I had bought the book back in 2008, and I had read it back then when I was traveling internationally. And I have read it twice since then. And so I went into this retreat very prepared with material and a practice that I had been doing for years at this point. What I learned at the retreat, though, which is not mentioned in the book, is the 7 spiritual laws of success, 7 days a week. So basically, there's a spiritual law for each day of the week. And this gives us the opportunity for us to hone in and practice each one of these spiritual laws of success so that we can become proficient at it. And ultimately, while practicing them each separately, eventually they'll be integrated into who we are. So today is Tuesday, so happy Tuesday. Today is the spiritual law of karma, also known as the law of cause and effect. And I happen to love this law, and I'll tell you why, because this is all about accountability. Think about it, karma. What we sow, we reap, right? Well, in order for us to really digest this law and understand the practice of this law, we have to understand that we have to own our choices and our decisions, because ultimately everything that we think, we feel, and we do produces a result. This isn't new information. Everything that we do, we contribute to this outcome. And ultimately, at the end of the day, we need to make sure that what we're achieving or what we're receiving back from our practices or our decisions and choices is exactly what it is that we want to achieve. So when we are experiencing life and we are experiencing favorable results, yay, woohoo, that's awesome. Okay, that means that we've made some really good decisions and choices along the way. When we are met with unfavorable outcomes, well, then we need to do some work, because ultimately we have to have the understanding that every decision that we make, every choice that we make brings about a result. And an unfavorable result is a result of an unfavorable decision or choice that we've made. So it's an opportunity for us to take a look at that and say, hey, you know what, how can I do this better? This isn't really what I was hoping to achieve. What is it that I'm hoping to achieve, and how can I modify my decisions and choices as a result of that? Personally, for me, I think this is a very empowering way to live our life. It puts all the power in our own hands, because after all, we are co-creators. We are the people that are producing the results in our life. I like to look at it like it's the tide or the ocean. The tide goes out, the tide comes in. The tide goes out, the tide comes in, right? So the law of karma, what we put out there, we get back. What we put out there, we get back. So my recommendation for the practice of this law would be to look at all the results that we're getting on a day-to-day basis and start to reflect on them and say, hey, you know, what decisions did I make to get this favorable outcome? And what decisions have I made that caused this unfavorable outcome? And then when we take a look at those things, we can repeat or make changes accordingly. Really, really important. Another important component of the law of karma and the law of cause and effect, and another practice that we want to implement on Tuesdays, is we want to be consciously aware of all the decisions that we're making in a given moment, in a given day. And there are an infinite amount of choices that we make every day. Some of them are conscious. Many of them are unconscious. So we're not consciously aware. That's why people often play the victim when things don't work out the way that they want them to, because we are not consciously aware of some of the choices that we're making. So our practice on Tuesday, when we're practicing the law of karma and the law of cause and effect, we need to keep our conscious attention on all the choices and decisions that we're making today. We need to keep ourselves in the now. We need to keep ourselves in the present, so that we are aware of all the different things that we're doing on a day-to-day basis that are contributing to the outcomes that we receive. Because we know that once it goes out there, it's absolutely going to be coming back. That's the way life works. So today's practice, just to sum it up, on Tuesdays, and we only have to do this today, just on Tuesdays. Tomorrow, whole new law, whole new practice. Just today, just on Tuesdays. We're going to be working on being consciously aware of all of the choices and decisions that we're making today. We're going to be present in each moment so that we can witness and see the choices that we are making and determine whether or not they're contributing to the results we want to achieve. We can also be looking at the results that we are receiving. So if we have something happen today and it was unfavorable, reflect on it and say, what choices and decisions did I make that could have contributed to that result, and how might I change them next time? If it was a favorable outcome, I would do the same thing, because ultimately at the end of the day, I want to repeat the things that happen that are great in my life. That's just a practice that I have. So I wish you all the best of luck today. Looking forward to hearing about your experiences. So if you learn something about yourself today, or you make a different decision because you've actually stepped back and thought about it and said, wow, this isn't really in alignment with what I want to achieve today, I want to know it. I want everybody to share so that we all grow and learn as a result of this group's practice. So I look forward to it. Make yourself an amazing day, and I look forward to checking in with you tomorrow to share the law for Wednesday. Until then.